All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Stephanie Fortunato. I'm the director of Providence's Department of Art, Culture, and Tourism. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon for the info session about the landmark public artwork. I am joined today by my amazing colleague, Gina Rodriguez-Drix, our Cultural Affairs Manager and Public Art Guru. Hi, Gina. So I'm going to share our screen and we're going to run through a presentation about this opportunity. Just present mode. All right, can everyone see that? Great. You can use the chat feature for questions along the way. Otherwise, we'll save questions to the end, and Gina and I will be happy to answer anything that may come up. I think that's the only bit of housekeeping here. I just want to note that you can find out some more information about this opportunity by visiting artculturetourism.com, and it has all of the details that we'll be sharing today. Actually, and before we get started, I just want to acknowledge that although we are joining together in the Ethernet, the virtual world, I am in Providence, Rhode Island, on the land of the Narragansett and Wampanoag, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the elders who have stewarded this land with a moment of appreciation for this place, because public art is so much about both aesthetics and site specificity, and so I just wanted to say that from the beginning here. This is an exciting moment for the city of Providence. We are commissioning this landmark public artwork using funds from the Capital Improvement Plan. The city of Providence is making some very significant investments into our public realm. You can see from this slide, there are several departments that are managing funds from the Capital Improvement Plan. And the percent for art is also coming from this pool of money. You may have noticed there's many improvements happening in playgrounds and other public spaces already from that fund. But we are using a mechanism known as the Art and City Life Ordinance. It's a percent for art allocation that actually has been on the books since 1980. So this is truly, truly a historic moment, 40 years in the making. Some of you may have been with us. I see some familiar names in the participant log here. We started this process many years ago, really with the cultural plan in 2009, in which the community called for us to activate the percent for art allocation here. And then in 2016, we established an Art and City Life Commission. We took on public art master planning in 2017, and we produced that plan in 2018, the Art and City Life Plan, which you can also read at artculturetourism.com. And we have been working to really work with our colleagues and departments across the city on the application of this percent for art, thinking about projects that make sense, not only as investments that we can make in public art, but investments that really will benefit a much larger community by being part of our civic infrastructure. So very exciting moment here. What are eligible projects? So these are capital investments, eligible construction projects. And again, you saw them in the beginning, but that may be coming through the Parks Department, through Department of Public Works. Some of you may know that in addition to the landmark public art call, we are also doing sidewalk tattoos. And so different opportunities as they repair the sidewalks throughout the city to integrate art into those new sidewalk spaces. And it's a pretty significant percent. So it may have taken 40 years to get here, but it is a very significant investment in our arts infrastructure. We have $1.125 million dedicated to art as part of this process. So terribly exciting, actually, to be able to say that out loud. This is the most significant investment that we've made in public art, certainly ever, really. It's amazing. So what is a landmark public artwork? So when we are thinking about this, we're thinking about something that can be iconic, an artwork that will be a signature piece for the city of Providence. And we have here that it channels Providence's complex creative identity into a visible form. So I think this is really an aesthetic representation of Providence and what it means to be of and from this place. We hope it's meaningful, that it feels authentic. You know, I think great public art often serves as a gathering place. So, you know, it's kind of funny to talk about this in these days in which we've been so far apart from each other physically. But I think we hope that this piece, once installed, will be the place where people meet and gather, and it will be the site where there'll be new rituals, new events, new programs for many generations into the future. And it's really a new scale for Providence's public art collection. And really, I think is a visible representation of our commitment, not only to our public realm and beautiful public spaces, but to our creative community, to the artists who have made us the creative capital, and to our wider community, who I think all of us feel connected in different ways through arts and cultural experiences. It's a really exciting moment to be able to bring that into visible form, tangible form. And so this signature work of art, this is really a unique moment of civic pride. So again, getting back to our hopes for this piece, we really hope that this will be a meaningful installation, that it'll be something that resonates with visitors and with locals alike. And it is something that we will all become fond, look to fondly, something that we'll want to take our out-of-state guests to, but also we'll want to meet up with our best friends at this installation again and again. These are just some examples when we're talking about these, different kinds of signature public art and how art is so often associated with its place. So of course, these are also of different scale, right? So we have Cloudgate in Chicago, the Bean. I think that's come up so many conversations that I've had about the landmark public artwork, but certainly a great example of a piece of public art that speaks to not only the local community, but to a wider public of visitors who must go there and have their picture taken in its reflection. Sort of at a different scale, we have the Big Blue Bear from Denver. Laura Sargent's I See What You Mean of the bear looking in the window of the convention center. I don't think anyone who has ever gone to a meeting or conference there hasn't stopped to get their picture taken with him. And then on a smaller scale, but no less significant in terms of the way that you associate this sculpture with its city, the Little Love statue in Love Park in Philadelphia that Robert Indiana did as a bicentennial project. This was intended to be a temporary project, and then people loved it. And of course, there are more than one of those. But I think it's another piece that at a smaller scale really shows how public art can be an attractor for lots of different kinds of people. And when you go to that place, that's your postcard image, right? That's what you're sending to your friends and family, you standing with that. And I think that's what we're hoping that this piece will become for us in Providence. So this particular commission, and Gina and I are gonna sort of tag team this information here, but you can find the link to the call, and I'm gonna just click on it just so you can see how that works. This is the Art, Culture, Tourism page. And if you scroll down, you'll be able to find, again, all of the details that we're going to go over today. But let me go back to that other screen. Oh, not as easy as I just thought that was going to be. Hold on, there we are. We're back. So you can find out all of the details there. Oops, excuse me. All right, so what are we hoping to achieve with this? Again, I talked about this iconic representation, this signature postcard image that we have are hoping to capture here. You know, it is sited in a place of the city where there's a long and complex history, right? Not all of it is a positive history for Providence. There's a lot of complexity there that we hope that an artist, the successful artist, will grapple with. And that they'll be able to channel that into a creative and visible form. We hope that this work will respond to the current site. So as you'll see in a minute, this is sited at the foot of the pedestrian bridge in Providence in the Innovation Design District. And it is very visible from many different points in the surrounding area. So we're hoping for a piece that has some verticality, has some scale, and that you'll be able to see from different sight lines. Again, you know, some of these reinforce what I just said about what is a public artwork, but, you know, I think we are looking for something that will animate, will be interactive in some way, and that people will come to again and again. And that I think we hope that we'll be able to not only showcase, you know, Providence as the creative capital in this moment, but hopefully capture some of that spirit which has actually gotten us to this point, right? You know, it didn't, that may be a brand identity that we've used in recent years, but Providence has a long history of creative thinkers and independent thinkers. And so we hope that some of that will be channeled into this work. Gina, do you want to add anything to the project goals?
No, just want to note that there is on the call site and within the application, there are links to both the site description page, and we'll show you some slides that give some imagery of the site itself and some details there shortly. But also we have a brief of the history of the site and some resources that you can refer to if you are from out of town or from here and just wanted to know exactly what we mean by the complex history. We are not at all really commissioning a commemorative piece in this. This is a public artwork, but we, as Stephanie said, want to see proposals that grapple with the complex history of the site.
And this is the site. Again, many of you may be familiar with the pedestrian bridge. This is in what we also call the new park on the west side of that bridge. And there's a promontory at the end. Some of you actually, I think did I see Jerry on the line here? Jerry Ehrlich's piece, Head in the Clouds, Feet on the Ground, is currently sited in this area. But this is the site of the permanent piece. And you can see on this site map, which I think is fairly recent, but you know, there'll be connections to a river walk that extends all the way through. Some of that is under construction just to the south of the site. And there is a development parcel nearby that will at some point or may at some point be realized. So just noting that while it's pretty much a blank canvas now, there are some changes anticipated in the future. And to show sort of the opportunity here, it really is a bit of a blank slate. It just opened, the park just opened last year. The grass grew over the last season. It is green in there. There are some early amenities, and there are activities planned. The 195 district has a series of plans for this space in terms of placemaking and activations, and they've entered into some partnerships with food trucks and food and beverage and others. But at the moment, it's an amazing time to be able to install public art because there is a lot of opportunity. So for the artist who is successful with this commission, I think there's an opportunity to really become integral to the fabric of this new park, which is on the edge of the downtown. Is going to be, you know, one of our great public spaces for us just coming online here. It is along the waterfront. So I think another important thing to note is the sea level rise that is anticipated. And while again, that's not a criteria that the artist must engage with that, I think it would be silly not to think about what that rise will mean for this installation, since it is a permanent piece. It is adjacent to the downtown transit corridor, so it's a great spot in terms of its visibility. Honestly, it's very accessible by foot, by transit. You know, it's kind of an amazing spot in that way, right on the edge of the downtown. Gina, if I'm missing anything, you can hop in here. And the site was created as part of the taking down of the highway. I think we all know this story here, but I do love this image, which is really early on of the park itself. You know, again, just reinforcing this idea that this installation is really part of the beginning of the public life of this space, and I think that's a really exciting moment to sort of enter into the history of the Providence Innovation District Park. It's maybe not the most interesting name, but it's descriptive, it's on. And this is a significant opportunity for an individual artist. So we will be shortlisting 3 finalists, each of which who will have $6,500 to cover their design costs and potential travel to the site. I think that travel to the site is a little bit pending public health guidelines and other restrictions that might be in place. We will work with the finalists when we get to that point to really understand what's possible. And if travel to the site is not possible, we'll make sure that there will be another way to experience the site for those who may not be familiar with it. The project itself, $680,000 for the design, fabrication, materials, all of the pieces that get this from concept into the ground there. And the awarded artist will have a fee of $170,000, which we hope will be interesting to many of you. Gina, do you want to add anything there?
We'll get into this a little further as well, but this is for this outline of the budget is what we will be looking for from the finalists. And so finalists will be provided a design stipend, and in their contract, it will include the need to develop a full design proposal, which will include a narrative, a design render and concept, and also an itemized budget. And so we are showing you all what we are expecting. And again, will be in the contract for finalists, where we really want to see proposals that show $680,000 towards the build itself. If someone applies and says it'll be a $300,000 build and the rest towards artist fee, it'll likely not be competitive. And so here is a best practice around 80%, 20%, 80% towards the build itself and 20% towards artist fee. That's what we're showing you here. So just in terms of getting your heads wrapped around how you would think about the design and think about the build.
All right. Take this, Gina.
So how to apply. As Stephanie showed you earlier, there are 2 places where you can find information about this call. There's our call page on our department's blog. And then that also links to the application, which is hosted on callforentry.org. And so this is a free application. There's no fee attached to apply for this call. If you don't yet have an artist profile set up on Cafe, you will need to complete that in order to apply. And you just go to callforentry.org and type in landmark public artwork at Providence Innovation District Park. Many words, but that's what you would type in. Or you can go to the direct link if you wanted to copy that down. There it is there. That's the direct link to the application, which is also on our blog site. There are pretty simple instructions right there to submit materials. When you develop your artist profile, you'll likely have images and video of previous work already in that profile. So you will just click the ones that you want to submit for this particular call. And the application at this early stage is just for qualification. So we're looking at an artist statement, a resume, and images or video of previous work. We're not looking for that design proposal that comes in the second round. So all of that gets uploaded through Cafe, and the deadline is April 18th. And the actual hour is in Cafe. Off the top of my head, I don't remember, but it is on Mountain Standard Time. So for those of you who are on the East Coast, you get a little bit of little edge into the middle of the night if you need it. I can't click the slide change. Would you mind, Stephanie? Thank you. So for eligibility, we are looking for individual artists or artist teams of up to 3 individuals that are working together. Ideally, these would be folks who have already worked together in the past and can apply to Cafe showing shared work that they've had previously. We understand that folks might have different identities as artists. And if you want to show off all of your talents, please do in your application. But we are looking primarily for people who have had experience in installing successfully public artworks. Those of you who are in Rhode Island with a home or studio address or can demonstrate a personal connection to Providence, perhaps you went to school here or grew up here or have traveled through and fell in love with the city and love to return, we will be preferring those who can show that connection. And we are going to be looking for public artists with at least 1 successful installation and or 3 successful installations of temporary works, or have the demonstrated capacity to bring studio artworks to scale. So if you are a studio artist who has not yet done public art, but you can demonstrate how you would if you got an opportunity like this, or if you're working on a team with studio artists and one person who's a public artist, that can be really successful as well and competitive. We are encouraging Black, Indigenous, people of color, women, and gender non-binary folks, our queer brothers and sisters and non-binary folks to apply. So we want to just let you all know that there is a very intentional note of welcome for a diverse pool of applicants. We are asking that the lead applicant be 18 years or older to be eligible. And this is open to anyone who's in the United States. All right. The artist selection process. So the Art and City Life Commission will oversee a 2-tiered competitive process. So the first round is selecting those 3 finalists. And then the second round is selecting the awarded artist or artist team to produce the work. So again, the deadline for qualifications is April 18th on Cafe. The art selection panel will review and score the applicants. And then finalists will be invited to produce a design stipend, produce a design proposal, and will receive a $6,500 stipend to do so. We are really crossing our fingers and hoping that we can have a site visit in June. As everything has happened in the last year, who knows if that'll be possible, but those who apply should know that there's a potential visit to Providence in June 2021, and to just keep that in mind as they go through the application process. And then we will have a time period of some technical assistance with a project manager that's part of our staff to help the finalists build up those design proposals. And then they will then present those proposals to the art selection panel in August. And then the panel will decide, bring it to the Art and City Life Commission for approval. And after all that happens, our department will announce the commissioned artist, probably publicly not until October. So it does take a bit of time to make sure that we do our due diligence through all of these steps and give ample time for a finalist to develop a solid proposal. The art selection panel. So we are including representatives from our partnering entities and different agencies and community-based stakeholders and arts professionals. It is weighed pretty heavily on local arts professionals. So you can see here who, in terms of category, will be on the panel. So again, we've been saying this a bunch of times, but you'll be provided, if you're selected a finalist, you'll be provided a $6,500 stipend to develop a detailed design proposal. You will have to submit a narrative summary, a design concept, an installation plan, a project schedule, and an itemized budget, again, within the $680,000 realm of the build. You will work with the project manager over at ACT to develop, identify any partner agencies for fabrication or installation purposes. So if there are connections to be made, there'll be someone there to help you with that technical assistance. Again, the site visit, submitting by August and presenting to the panel in August as well. So we will be looking for, we meaning the panel, the durability of materials that you're proposing, the ease and cost of maintenance within a New England climate. We are looking for an object that has verticality that can be seen from multiple sight lines. We want to make sure that the design proposal makes way for ADA accessibility and travel paths across the bridge. And there are maps and drawings that can be found on our project call site in the site description. So that's just a link to a PDF if you're on our blog site or within the CAFE application, and you click on that, you'll see some details. We also recognize that not all details are there right now. Those who are selected as finalists will be given additional information and hopefully some as-built drawings of the site itself, so that as you're developing the design, you know all the things you need to know around what's under the ground there. And again, successful proposals will grapple with the historic complexity of the site. So we have included some resources so that applicants can take a view at what that means. There's a link to a document called Historic Consideration of the District, and it's really just a survey level bullet list of different generations and centuries of activity that have happened at the site. We are not shying away from the lived realities of colonization and Providence's relationship to slavery in this call. We're also not shying away from the different ways in which immigrant communities have come through the city and built our industrial history. And we also are not shying away from the realities of climate change that are in front of us. So we know that this is a lot of information to take in one artwork, but we are challenging applicants to think holistically about the site. There's also a great presentation developed by Marissa Brown, who's the Assistant Director of Programs and Adjunct Lecturer at Public Humanities at Brown. Marissa had done a presentation for another major design change happening in Providence recently. And so we included the link there. It's also on the blog site if you wanted to watch her video or check out her slides, in addition to the notes that we've provided. You're welcome to do that. And of course, if you wanted to do independent research, by all means. So frequently asked questions. Any questions regarding the application process or the artist scope must be submitted in writing by this Friday. You can start now if you have any questions by popping them into the chat, but I will request that you also send them to me via email. My email address is there. We will post answers to those questions by April 1st. So it's still about 2 weeks to grapple with those answers before submitting your final application. That's it for our presentation. Should we move on to questions, Stephanie?
All right. So if anyone has any questions, want to raise your hand or pop it into the chat and we will do our best to answer them. Well, we're waiting for any questions to come in here. Oh, I see some hands raised. All right, hold on. I saw going in alphabetical order. Is it Elena?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I was just wondering, is there any issues with conflict of interest if, for instance, I see that, you want a proposal from artists, and then I'm assuming, the remainder of the budget, the idea is that it would go to a fabrication company or whatever. I'm an artist and I own a fabrication company. Would it be a problem, for instance, to be doing the fabrication in-house, or would I need to hire a separate firm? Or is that any of that a problem?
No, that should be fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
That's a good question, though.
Thank you.
Thank you for your interest. I am going to send you back. Hold on. Matthew. All right.
How does the Rhode Island or regional preference come into play?
We'll do a scoring rubric. So the art selection panel will be given all of the criteria, and we'll create a scoring rubric from that. And so the preference will be given with extra points. So that's generally how we do that with the art selection panels. And I think that's, this is an exciting opportunity. It really is a first of its kind opportunity. And we're aware of how long the local artists have been advocating for such an investment to be made in public art. So I think it's to honor that advocacy, interest, and our amazing local creative talent. But we're excited to open this up to others beyond the borders as well.
And just to add to that, I don't think the scoring would be, the extra points aren't going to be mammoth for Rhode Island preference. There'll be some extra points, but it won't be, it'll be fair, I think.
And we can make that scoring rubric available if there's interest in that with the qualifications round here. Matthew, does that answer your question? I am going to Karen next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, hi Karen.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear us?
Hello?
Yeah. Karen, can you hear us?
Yeah, I
hear
can
you.
hear you.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
I have two questions. I'm in New Mexico and I'm a public artist. And I'm really interested in this project because I do have a real connection to Providence. How will I be able to convey that connection to you on my application?
I might include that in your artist statement.
Oh, okay. So just do that. How many words do we get for our artist statement? Do you know offhand?
I don't know offhand, but I will find out in just a second. I'll throw that in the chat.
Yeah, often it's quite short. So I was just wondering if there was any other spot we could elaborate, because it doesn't give you a lot in these applications usually to cover a lot of information.
Well, Karen, while Gina's looking for that, I'm going to invite somebody else, or I'm going to answer one of the questions.
I have another question.
Oh, yes. Yes, sorry, go on.
Well, I have another, yeah. My other question was, I looked at the application and, I understand the verticality issue, because it made it sound like you have a lot of other things you want to be able to use the space for. So do you have a sense of how much, like a footprint, you want to be giving up to the sculpture and to retain enough area for others to interact? And is there a possibility of putting something out, like actually over onto the water or into the water or anything like that?
So at the moment, we're looking at that promontory area that was marked on the map. And Gina, please feel free to jump in here. We're at the qualification stage, Karen, and I'm not sure that where the promontory is sited with respect to the waterfront, how that would exactly work. It doesn't have to be a single object. We are open to designs that may encompass either multiple objects or the ground, or, you could imagine lots of different combinations therein. But the art selection panel will ultimately be the ones who determine the scope and our relationship with the 195 district that, as I said, does have some plans for the site as well.
Yeah, and again, once the finalists are selected, we will be giving additional they will be given additional drawings with more specificity. So yeah, we don't
Okay.
anticipate folks being able to determine what that actually looks like based on the things that are in that site description.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And it looks like
Pedestrian bridge is a pretty significant architectural feature, though, and so I know there'll be some interest in maintaining the silhouette of the pedestrian bridge to some extent from the water.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Gina, were
Right.
you going to say something?
yeah, I was just going to say that it looks like it's 1,000 characters for your artist statement, and that's characters. So if that proves to be not enough, we might be able to modify that in the next couple of days. But we'll have to bring that in-house before we do that.
Yeah. Think about it and see, because if you want any kind of artist statement plus, your relationship to Providence, that's really short. If you try writing it out, you'll see it often. And I know that people do not want to have to read a lot. So I do edit myself, but you have to get a certain amount of information out. So thank you.
All right. Thanks for your interest. All right, we had I see a couple of quick notes here. If you partner with another artist, both have to submit separate cafe applications. And the answer is no. Gina, how does that work?
Yep, just choose one to be the lead applicant and make sure that you're uploading images of shared artwork. So that might be a little tough based on your artist profiles. You might need to kind of create a joint artist profile and then upload from there. But just do a shared artist statement and a shared set of imagery.
Brian Dowling asks, what kind of engineering requirements are we looking for? And when would that be submitted in the timeline that we've outlined? Gina?
That would come through your design proposal. So the qualifications round is really just, we want to get a sense of who you are as an artist and what your previous work has looked like. And then in your developing the design proposal, we will be looking to see what you're designing and is that feasible, is that safe? That'll happen in the proposal design process throughout the summer.
Great. And I see a request to make the rubric available. I think we can make that available as part of our FAQ. So look for that by April 1st. And that's the end of questions. I don't see any hands raised, but I'll give it another second in case you are thinking. Gina and I have been waiting for this moment for a really long time. So we're eager to sit and talk to anybody who'll listen to us about this project.
Yeah, this has been 40 years in the making to get us to this point in Providence. So thank you all for being a part of it and for your interest in being a part of it. Oh, we have another.
Okay. Karen, let me get you back in here. Yep, Karen, you should be in.
Yeah. As I'm sitting here thinking, I also thought I saw on the application that it was only 3 images or 3 projects that we could submit. Is that true?
I'm not sure what the limit is in cafe.
The limit in cafe is up to 10. But we want to see that as a minimum in terms of previous work. So at least one successful public art installation and up to at least one permanent public art installation or up to 3 temporary public artworks, or the demonstrated capacity to bring the studio practice to the public realm.
And we're allowed 10 images?
Yep, it's a mix of images and videos that are allowed.
Okay, great. That's great. I just wanted it to be more than 3.
Yeah, I mean, you could do up to 10 images, and if you had 10 examples and you wanted to submit that, I'm sure you could do that in Cafe. Just depends on what's in your
All right.
artist profile.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, thank you. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hi.
I see some additional questions here, but I also have Lenny raising her hand. Hi, Lenny.
Hey there. Yeah, I put it in the Q&A, but I thought you were kind of moving on from there. Thank you for addressing and allowing me to speak. I'm really curious about the maintenance partner, and especially this is going to be something very vertical. I work in a kind of ephemeral art form that, does need some conservation. Just curious, is it the park? Is it you? Is it the city? Can you help us on that?
Yeah, it will be the City of Providence, and it will be the Art and City Life Commission, but really through the Department of Art, Culture, and Tourism, we will be the lead department. This is the first of its kind commission. So we are currently in the process of building the capacity and really understanding the annual operations budget that will be needed, and all of the different pieces for really stewarding this piece with the care that we know that will be required. So yep, it is the City of Providence.
Okay, clearly it's a big investment. So, the artist can help with an owner's manual and conservation methods and all that stuff, just so that I had to do a project in a park once, and it was just a disaster in terms of maintenance. No one wanted to commit. So always ask that at the beginning.
Good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was just going to say that the awarded artists will have to provide a maintenance plan before the city does their final acceptance of the artwork, to make sure that we all know exactly what the artwork needs and can put that into operationalizing in our future budgets and work plans. So
Thanks.
Yeah.
Great. All right, Lenny. And there is a question here. Oops, I just navigated away somehow. About how long the artist will have to build and install. Gina, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, you'll have about 12 months. So we will probably publicly announce the commissioned artists in October, but the artists themselves will know a little bit prior to that. And once we get the contract executed, we are looking to install the work in mid-September 2022.
All right. Elena, does that answer your question? All right. Well, we are making a recording of this info session, which we will post on artculturetourism.com. But thank you all for being here and for your interest in this public art installation. We are looking forward to seeing the applications. In fact, we are really, really that's my favorite part, right? So I hope that everyone will go to Cafe and submit their qualifications. And I look forward to continuing this conversation with many of you, hopefully in the future. All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.